Oh, hi! Happy Saturday. I apologize for all these videos going way over time. It's crazy holiday season, so I'm not really sure why I chose to do the dates that I did, but that's okay. Here we are. Last lesson. Like I said before, and I will say it again, I learn every day. I just try to take some of the biggest pieces of my learning over this past year and try and turn them into kind of videos. It was kind of hard to do, but I'm hoping everyone followed along and it was somewhat concise. I will say that I think this is the biggest learning that I've had, and I definitely have spoke about it. It's been a common thread through most of the videos because it's really hard to, release that sense of immediacy. It's really hard to let go of expectations of self and others. It's really hard to work on the shadow self. It's really hard to believe that everything's here to help us. It's really hard to come from a higher way of understanding and allow that to be what moves us forward, even in the darkest times. All of that is only actually possible and therefore successful when it's done from a place of love and love of self. So this is kind of the biggest and last most significant lesson, and it's just all around self-love. Now, I think I said in a video before, depending on where you're at, you in your life and on your soulful journey, you would have heard the term self-love probably 1,000 times. And especially a lot of the people that I connect with are somewhat in as a light worker in the helping field, whether you're a teacher or you're a nurse or you work directly with, clients all the time, whether it's, doing eyelashes and aesthetics or whether it's doing Reiki or, one-on-one counseling support. There's a lot of light workers and a lot of people who are on this path. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to everybody. But those specific people who help other people have heard and understood what self-love is and how to take care of the self and, develop that relationship with the self. But I think this takes a whole new meaning. And like I said before, it's like a transgression of how you see loving the self. But the biggest thing that I've learned and what's come up in pretty much every reading that I've had with all my clients is actually that the answer is so simple to all of life's issues and problems. It all comes down to just actually loving the self. And it is actually not easy at all. It's a really hard thing to do, especially when you're working through those dark, shadowy parts of the self. It's so hard to find love and self-compassion for those parts of you. The parts that you really want to change, the parts that you don't show anybody, the parts of yourself that scare you, the parts that you're the hardest on yourself, whether it's your weight or your physical appearance or your mental health or your parenting style or, the things that we view are missing in our life and that we're just why can't we get there? And making enough money and, being successful, whatever that means, being normal, whatever that means, being healed, whatever that means, working through our trauma. Most people feel like they do have things that they're stuck with in terms of the past and those experiences. And the biggest thing, the biggest secret I can tell you is loving you. It's not to love other people. I mean, that's a part of it, but it's actually learning to love those dark parts of you and to love yourself. And it's practice because we are born with this ego and it's very critical of self. And, it can be egotistical and whatnot, but for the most part, our self-talk is terrible. That's how we're kind of raised in this society, where appearance and beauty and, success and money and all these things are the poster of what happiness is. And so when we don't obtain that, it's really hard to view the self through a loving lens. Now, I have practiced self-care and I've tried and it's looked different for a long time, and it still is sometimes, going for a walk or having a bath, or sometimes it's having a glass of wine and just being peaceful, and sometimes it's completely checking out and being numb, even though that's something that, doesn't serve me anymore. But at one point it did, just to be flat, just to lay and just not have to think or be or heal or do anything and just take a break. Self-love has looked like so many different things. But one thing it never looked like for more than 30 years of my life was loving myself when I was ugly, when I was, being aggressive with my words to other people, to my daughter, because I couldn't cope with the amount of stress that I was dealing with. When I've been my ugliest self and said things that I didn't mean because I wasn't in a place, I wasn't in my light, remembering some past experiences that have happened and feeling that rise of anger and frustration that I'm still holding on to that, or that happened to me. And those times, a long time ago, I could not see myself through any lens of love. I couldn't love those parts of me. I wanted them to go away. I wanted them to move. I wanted them to not be a part of my story. I wanted to feel free. I walked around the world with this backpack that was just so weighted down with all of the way I felt about myself, the way I thought, all these experiences, all these relationships, all of that. And I realized one day that it was a choice, that I viewed them as if they were heavy and dark and, horrible. Or I could switch my view as, they showed up and they're here to help me. And okay, if I believe all that to be true, can I take them out one by one and really love on them? And in my darkest moments, and I don't know about you guys, but I think when we're in really dark moments or dark spaces, or just our headspace, we tend to spiral down the shame or the guilt, maybe the way we behave with someone, maybe we handled a situation which normally we wouldn't have, maybe it's parenting, maybe it's, dealing with our partner and a specific topic comes up that's more, that it can be activating for us. Whenever we are in those moments where we have a moment to like come down, we will usually think, wow, like that was horrible of me. I wasn't my best self. And we do that shame spiral. Am I ever going to get better? Am I ever going to change? I keep repeating the same things, or I keep being angry. Where does this anger come from? I can't understand it. And it becomes so paralyzing, this spiral that we go down. And then our brain has full control over us. And so what I've learned is that that's a choice. We do choose to allow ourselves to go, or we can be strong and bold and brave and learn to unpack those parts. And my favorite thing to say is they all come from pain. Any experience, any trigger, any activation, any memory, any way that we are in the world towards people, it is our job to check in and to be like, whoa, where did that come from? And then you love on that, because most of the time, 99% of the time, it's come from a really hard experience and it's come from pain. And so we're quick to appreciate and love and see like, oh, I get why that they're like that, or I understand that that person's journey's been like that, so it makes sense that they might come from that place and say that. So there's, compassion and love and forgiveness immediately, but we don't do that to ourselves. And so if you choose to embark on the journey to love yourself, the universe will support you, spirit will support you, but that means that it will show you the most unlovable parts of yourself that everyone around you has loved. Your best friends, your family, your partner, your children, they love you. They see you in this light. You're the only one who has to catch up. So when you make that choice to do it, it's not always an easy choice, because you do have to travel to those unlovable parts of you. And I just pick them out and you look at them like a little ball and you give them a name, and whatever part they are of you, you think about it like, okay, wow, I was 7 when this ball of pain or whatever this represents, going back, wow, what would that have been like at 7? How sad. Okay, I get that when, life happens at this little ball, this 7-year-old steps forward and wow, I'm just going to love her. I've said it maybe a few times, and I think you've probably heard it from other spiritual people or teachers or any of the metaphysical world will say that, eventually we get to a place where we parent ourselves, and especially if we embark on the journey of motherhood in any capacity, being a step parent or adoption or birth children or whatever the case may be, whatever, I think it just kind of hits you and notches you up, especially if you've had any type of attachment or dysfunction or whatnot, or trauma within your family, which is most families. I think that when you become a parent, it really kind of opens you up to kind of a new way of understanding those different parts of you. And for me, it was a huge opportunity. I always say my daughter was the brightest light in the entire world. And when she showed up, she shined in on all of the darkest parts of me, parts that I thought I had dealt with. And I had, as much as I possibly could have at that point, with my understanding and my knowledge of self and my knowledge of life. And I didn't like her for a long time. And it took me a long time to admit that and be okay with that. But why would I really like somebody who, you know, showed me the darkest, ugliest parts of myself and brought that out? And now I hold so much gratitude. I had to be there. I had to be angry and move through that. But I hold so much gratitude for that journey, because she did shine, you know, the light into my dark parts. And she did give me an opportunity to heal and really look and love. And it was not love at first. It was anger for a long time of myself, that I would be this way in the world, that, you know, my parenting, this isn't who I thought I was going to be, and this isn't the woman I thought I was going to be, and all of those kind of things. It took a long time to get to that place of loving on me, and she was the greatest teacher. Anyways, I kind of completely went off track, but my point is that when you do that, when you set the intention to really come to a place of really loving, you might not even know what that means. When I say loving yourself, you might be like, yeah, like I'm okay with myself. Like, you know, I like this, this, and this. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, it's a full journey. Like when you're naked, when you're completely nudies and you are standing in a long mirror that you don't want to turn away from you, that not only do you love, and I always tell people, we always think of it backwards. I need to exercise, I need to lose the weight, I need to get clearer skin, or I need to get my hair cut, or I need to, you know, get my eyelashes done, or I need to get new clothes. I need to do things externally to me to make me feel better. And that is 100% the wrong way to do it. Does getting your hair done make you feel good? Of course. Does getting your eyelashes done make you feel good? Yeah. Does going for a nice hot hike, sorry, and having a delicious smoothie or a salad make you feel good? Of course, those things contribute. But if that's your only focus, then it's only going to get you so far. You have to turn that inward and really learn to work from the inside out and get really raw with yourself. Most of us, especially if we experience trauma, live in the neck up. It's really hard to be connecting to these parts of us, to our body and who we are. To really, truly love yourself, that means that eventually you will get to a point where there's absolutely nothing you don't love about yourself, even when you show up as ugly as you are. And just know, in that moment at 1 o'clock yesterday, for example, you showed up as this ugly version of yourself to parts of your family or your partner or your child. Instead of going to that spiral and spin and like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me? And going through that, you just say, you know what? Yesterday, I was not standing in my light. Yesterday, I was not standing in my truth. And yesterday, this version of me stepped forward, and oh wow, that means that she really needs some more work, and she has some things that left to say. And I'm not going to choose guilt and shame. I'm going to choose rising above that, because I'm brave as fuck, and I am going to face that. And when I have a moment, I'm going to turn to that version of myself that showed up yesterday at 1 o'clock, and I'm going to listen to her, and I'm going to be like, what else do you have to say? What else do you have to show me? How can I support you? How can I love on you? And you are going to stand in your light, and you are going to love that part of you until she heals or releases, or you understand her better. And the more we can do this, the more we can have control and understand that we are in control. We have full capacity to stand in our light all the time, and to love, and to be forgiving, and to be compassionate. And if you're not there yet, that is okay. It doesn't have to be a long journey. You know, we're actually in a really great time in the world where things happen rapidly and fast. Like, if you want the change and you really want to create a path for yourself where you find inner peace and self-love, watch it unfold. Set that intention and know that it will just start to happen. It is not something that happens once or twice. It could be this entire year. It could be a few years. But you know what? It's really worth it. And in it, you may go through these phases where you feel really great and then you feel really, really down. That's okay. Go back to video 1. It's okay to be down here. It's actually where you learn the most about yourself. And it's all about developing that relationship. You know, when you look at your best friend and you think of your best friend and your relationship over the last, let's say 20 years, you've probably had a lot of these ups and downs, and moments where you didn't see eye to eye and you were frustrated, or moments where you were disconnected and you had to repair, or things were done to one another, or trust was broken, or this happened. It's the same as a relationship with ourselves, but we're so willing to invest that into that best friend. And you know, when we look back, it wasn't even work. It was just, you loved them and they were just a part of you. But we don't give ourselves that same dignity and that same bit of like grace. All right, that was really long, but the answer is, whoever is watching this, wherever you are at on your path, the key to healing and moving forward is to love you and find ways to do that for you. And it's not just on the outer body, it is inside, you know? So yeah, and forgive yourself. The Ho'oponopono prayer is really great. Look it up and research it, and you can use it for lots of different parts. And that is an amazing prayer. It's an amazing process that I encourage people to embark on. I can't tell you much about it because it's such an individual journey, and you may like wrestle with the meaning and all of that and see what comes up, but it's a really great opportunity to see what comes up for you when you say some of the prayer. But using that for experiences and whatnot will be really great. But anyways, you guys are all amazing and magical, and you are on the path. If you have lived up until this moment of me talking to you, then you survived, and you've had grace, and you are full of love and compassion and light, and you are full of all the amazing things that you've ever doubted about yourself. It's just really time for you to really open up, because the more that each of us do this work with a face of bravery and with integrity and courage and love, the more each of us do it, the more we awaken other people to do it too, and the more the world shifts and changes. You know, it can be a really amazing place to be. All right, I'm done. 60 minutes, probably my longest, but I will say this. Not everybody did follow along and share and like and do all the comments on every single video. So what I did is like a tally of who had done the most in terms of sharing videos, in terms of adding people, in terms of commenting and stuff. So I'm going to give away 2 mini readings, and one is to Chelsea Arnett. I think that's how you say your last name. Oh my gosh, I probably should have chosen it. And then one to Kim Tassoni, my mother-in-law, because I'm pretty sure she shared, liked, and added 1 million people. So those were 2 of the people that did the most. So they each will get a 25-minute free reading that can be done over the phone. It can be done in person whenever you are ready. So I will connect with you probably tomorrow, and we will set something up to do that. But thank you. And thank you to everybody who did participate and who commented and liked and did share. You guys did amazing. Nobody did, more or less, and doesn't matter. I appreciate you coming on this journey, and I'm happy that everyone got to listen, and I'd love to hear, your biggest takeaway and the thing you've learned the most, if you've made it this far in this video. But yes, 2020 is going to be amazing. It's going to be whatever you want it to be. And even if it's a hard year, that's okay. Even in the hardest of times, we can still find beauty and still find love and peace. And this is one last thing I wanted to say. Happiness is not a destination. Peace is not a destination. Self-love is not a destination. It's not somewhere where you get and all of a sudden you stay there and then you're there forever and nothing changes. No, in one day, in a 24-hour period, we experience dozens and dozens and dozens of emotions time and time again. 1 minute we're happy, the next minute we're feeling peace, the next hour boiling with rage. Being human is feeling the array of all these emotions, but it can be about harnessing when we're there and noticing, wow, today I feel really peaceful, or today I feel just so full of gratitude. I just have this I don't know, kind of like wanting to just connect and feel like, wow, I'm just so grateful for all these things. Just harness that, learn to sit in that. It's all inside of you, and you can conjure it up and call on it any time. But to keep in mind, it is about the journey. It isn't about the destination. It's just about each day. Wherever you're at, that's where you're supposed to be. Wherever you are, there you are. All right. Happy almost 2020, and sending you guys lots of love. Bye.